I don't want to say that like these people deserved it, but they definitely tested out the scientific method, which is fuck around and find out. They fuck around and they found out. What is up, y'all? It's episode 60 of Your House Our Rules, and before we even get started, I just want to fucking thank everybody. The last episode that me and Stolzy did this week on Activision and all the things going on with Call of Duty and Nick Merckx or whatever hit over 1,000 views in under 24 hours, and I'm just incredibly grateful. It's baby steps. It's baby. Jeff was. I'm sorry, Jeff, but I'm just grateful for everyone that watched the video and fucking comment and subscribed. And we need to keep up that momentum. So definitely get involved. You know, comment, like, just stop the video right now, give it a like and a comment, and we're gonna get into it. So the big thing that happened this week that damn near the entire world has been talking about is this submersible. I can't say it. Submersible, which is basically a fucking tiny submarine, Titan, that OceanGate went and, you know, had a little expedition down to see the Titanic. And they lost contact with it. It went down on Sunday. They lost contact with it shortly after, and then, you know, there was this giant search team, and everybody's been talking about it. It's split up a lot of fucking people because, you know, some people are, like, sharing memes about it, which are funny memes. I've seen one of them that was, like, literally just a picture of Titan, and it had George Floyd's face on it, and it just said, "I can't breathe." And I was like, it was fucking terrible. I saw, because I was sharing a bunch of the memes, because, you know, that's me. Fucking, but I told the guy who shared that one, I was like, dude, I wouldn't even share this to my Facebook profile. Like, that's so bad. But yeah, it's kind of split up a lot of people. And, you know, I just want to get off and start with the whole thing. If you look into this at all, OceanGate, the people that had this Titan that went down there, they had been warned multiple times that this thing was not going to be able to survive. They did a bunch of paneling. There was a guy who, like, leaked a bunch of stuff, and they ended up getting a lawsuit, and they settled out in court and haven't released the information on, like, what happened to get it, you know, settled. But pretty much a bunch of scientists were, like, tested it out and were like, hey, man, this isn't going to survive. Actually, it was only given validation to go like a quarter of the way that the Titanic was. Like, the Titanic is 4,000 meters down, and 1,300 was what they gave like the Titan to actually do it. This is back in 2018. And from what I read, I read it somewhere, but I haven't seen many people talking about it. Apparently, it did 2 other expeditions before down to the Titanic.
It's taken, what the article I saw, it's taken 28 people down,
43 in 2 years.
I just saw last year, 28 people down last year, but it only made it to. It said 2 to 3, so I don't know how it's only 2 to 3. Like, meh.
Maybe
they were like, maybe it kind of got there, but they don't know.
The halfway there.
Yeah. I have no idea, but
the point is, a lot of scientists were saying, hey, you shouldn't do this. And the guy, the Rush, what was his first name? Stockton Rush, I think it was.
I think it's strange.
It was the guy who was piloting, and he's a CEO of OceanGate. He basically came out and said, you know, that the restrictions to actually get the thing where it needs to be to make those depths it's too much, and they're blocking the regulations are blocking innovation. And, you know, he was one of those guys who said, like, if you're just going to lay around in bed all day and not do anything, like fuck it. He's like, I like to test the boundaries of what I do. He's like, I like to innovate. But now he's got his own life and 4 others.
Well, first off,
yeah,
who the fuck, when they were like designing this whole thing, was like, you know what, we're gonna get into this little bean and we're going to bolt it in from the outside. You can't get out of the motherfucker. It's bolted from the outside. It doesn't even matter if you bob up into the fucking top of the ocean. Like, if you're in the fresh air, not in the ocean anymore, you still can't get out of the motherfucker.
Somebody else has to let you out.
Like, someone else has to, like, if you get lost, if they lose transmission like they did, but they actually got up to the top, they still would die. Like, you know how big the ocean is? You know, like, they wouldn't be able to find them anyways.
I feel like it would be pretty. It wouldn't be that hard to find them. Like, if they're out searching.
I know why they did that. The reason why they bolted it down was to make it more structurally fucking
But why would you get into it?
But the whole thing is because you're going down 4,000 meters into the ocean. The amount of pressure that water is putting on this device down there is so immense that you don't want any type of... The engineering involved in order to do this is so intricate and so advanced that, like, it's something that you probably need to do. So, and it's not like if they did find the right mission that they wouldn't have a couple drills to unscrew it.
Well, see, I saw this fucking TikTok, and it was this girl, and she's a comedian. She was like, "So you guys chose to get into this thing, and in the contract that you signed to get in the motherfucker, it says you might die, or you might see the Titanic, which I can Google and say." Titanic wreckage, and it'll show me everything I need to fucking see about the Titanic. But you chose death.
All these people, like, what the fuck? All the people that went down are adrenaline junkies, and that's why they want to go down.
Well, apparently the son didn't want to go.
Well, that's the saddest part about the whole thing. That's the one that I truly feel bad for.
He didn't want to go
because, like, 19. Even if you were,
he was 19.
Even if he were to make the decision by himself and sign the waiver for himself, you're still like, he was only 19, but you're still not really of the age to have, like, in my opinion, the competency to do something like this. And a lot of people are talking about how they might face legal actions. And you're right. In the waiver, it said that we're not responsible for death or ailment or whatever the hell comes on. And they actually said that because of what's the word for it? Oh shit, I forgot it. There's a word for negligence. They said even in the company's negligence, they are not responsible for any of the things that happen, which that's a key word when it comes down to it, because that's what's allowing people not to be able to sue.
No liability.
Well, what's shitty is
exactly. But at the same time, courts have been known to, like, bypass waivers or whatever when it comes down to it.
If they can bypass that, then they need to.
If they can prove that there was fishy shit going on.
Well, you can look back at the articles and see that as early as 2018, they were telling them not to be releasing this into the water and do the things that they wanted to do with it. So, like, you can prove negligence, but the fact that they signed a waiver that said the company's negligence doesn't matter.
Something about them sealing it from the outside, though, like it being such a small craft, like I do believe with, like, actual submarines, they have, like, different sections and areas to where, like, the area where the hatch is, there's, like, another fail-safe. So that way, like, if the hatch compartment leaks, then there's another compartment that you have to get to before that. And, like, in such a small sub, the compartment is so small that you don't have room for separate compartments, like, as fail-safes. So I imagine that's why they sealed it in from the outside.
Well, when you're talking about military submarines, they're fucking huge. They're like the size of a city block.
There's some of them that run off, like, nuclear reactors and stuff that have been, like, underwater for 40 years.
Also, those only go down to, like, half the depth.
Oh, yeah, they're not going anywhere near that.
They're not nearly as.
The Titanic,
and it's the military, so they've had, like, hundreds of years at this point of advancement to be able, about 100 years of advancement to fucking get this shit. So
the Titanic, the giant squids that have been known to fucking kill, like, fucking sperm whales, shit like that.
Yeah.
It's below that.
Yeah.
And it's below to where you can't see shit.
I know what you're talking about. They had that chart of I think in feet it's like 14,000 feet.
Yeah.
But it's like the Empire State Building.
What is it, like 2 miles down or something?
It's like barely even hitting the 100 feet mark or 1,000 feet mark, I guess it was. And then you have, like, a third of the way down is the giant squid, and the deepest diving animal that we know of, which is a sperm whale, was like a little bit less than half.
Yeah.
And then you have the Titanic. There's this big blue space that kicks up half of the fucking chart, and that was how much they were. And, like, the submarines that we're talking about, the military submarines or whatever,
they don't even go by there.
That's about where they go to their maximum depth.
Well, what's shitty about this is they hired better attorneys to make their contracts than they did people to run the fucking sub.
That actually... Did you see that OceanGate posted a job application for...
It was not even like 24 hours after they fucking posted a job application
for a new CEO?
For a person that can run the sub, a pilot.
A pilot.
Yeah. Like...
Well, they need a new CEO too, right?
The video
They do need a new CEO now. I think there's multiple CEOs, though, that they have.
The video of the CEO talking about this whole OceanGate company and what they were trying to do is he basically was saying... We want to hire younger people to make it more, not popular, but, like, seem like it's more
They
trendy.
To be more
Like,
influential.
Yeah. They want to have
because their whole thing was innovation.
Yeah, they want to hire younger people. This is an insane thing, and you have to have years and years of experience. Like if I was running this company, I would want to have fucking people that have been in this for years, that have been researching this shit for years, to be able to fucking do it.
Let's talk about the people that fucking got onto the thing too. Like, you see all this information that is like, hey, you shouldn't get on there. What type of person does it take to fucking hop on to that motherfucker?
Friends of billionaires that are friends with other billionaires that are like, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, so I just don't know. The whole entire situation is just so fucking
I feel like there's gonna be
crazy.
shit that comes out like maybe a year later where there's gonna be something fishy that happened.
Some conspiracy theory.
They're all over the place
it'll be a
now.
conspiracy
Already,
theory where it's like you're like, man, that ain't really a conspiracy theory. Like that probably fucking happened.
I lived through 2020. We know what you guys are up to.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, it's such a crazy scenario. And in case you didn't wonder, I don't think we've actually stated, they did find the wreckage, and they did find out that the submersive exploded. Imploded. Yeah, my bad. That's very, very key thing that we should peg on for sure. But it imploded. So that's one thing that I will say. I mean, I don't want to say that like these people deserved it, but they definitely tested out the scientific method, which is fuck around and find out. They fuck around and they found out. So, I mean, at least they died a quick death, though, because if it imploded, they weren't suffocating
like
slowly.
They wouldn't have even known
dead.
what happened, yeah.
My buddy was saying that Mitch Dean, you guys both know Mitch, you've done podcasts with him. He was talking about this other thing that I need to look up. I just didn't have time because he commented today. He said that the temperature, because of the pressure when it imploded or whatever, he said it skyrocketed like 50 times in a matter of an instant. So,
they died. They died almost instantly.
Yeah. And now they got to go recover all the wreckage and stuff like that. And it was based in Washington, and apparently it's going to, for the search and the recovery of not only them, which we've been doing the past 2 days, but to get the wreckage or whatever. But it's going to be paid for with taxpayer money. I'm sorry.
But which country is going to take precedent of it? This is what they were talking about too, because it took place in international waters.
Yeah, was it in Canada? Is that where it was?
I don't
know where the
coast
fuck
of Newfoundland, which is like,
Canada.
Is that Canada?
It's Canada. Yeah. But after you get past 10 miles out to sea, you are in international waters. So
right. So
it's just maybe a band together thing. I don't know. I feel like because it was stationed in the United States is going to get hit with the blunt of it.
Oh, yeah.
Several of the passengers were like related, like had relations with the royal family and stuff. Mm-hmm. So like,
oh really? I didn't.
Yeah,
know that.
I think the Pakistani people that were on there. I think that was one of the kids. The kid was one of them.
Yeah,
they were from the UK, or they were from Pakistan, but they lived in the UK.
Yeah, some sort of like relation to the crown.
Yeah, but. Oh, I will say this, out of everyone who was on there, the fucking CEO who was talking all this fucking bullshit about innovation and not getting shit done, he's the only one there that really deserved to die. The other guys fucking, they kind of found out, and I'd fucking say that, and I mean that shit. Fucking, if you're going to put people in danger like that knowingly, like, you got what's coming to you, man.
It was ran by a Logitech fucking controller.
Now I do want to talk. I'm glad you brought that up.
crazy.
I want to talk on that. A little bit.
It's because they're efficient.
A lot of people are talking about that. The Xbox 360 controller and like gaming controllers or whatever, they are the most ergonomically efficient controllers that you can use. Like I'm talking about controllers like you can talk about fucking arcade gaming controller, your remote, fucking whatever, a keyboard and mouse or whatever. But when it comes down to it, they literally have been flying drones, unmanned drones, over in the Middle East from the United States. They made a whole movie about this with Ethan Hawke off Xbox controllers. They've been doing it for years
crazy.
now. Yeah,
that's crazy.
So that's not the crazy part of it. I think the crazy part about it is that it was like, you would think that if you're going that deep or something, you would want something more mechanical rather than digital, because like it had electrical problems. That was one of the issues that like one of the guys from CBS who was going over and like doing a little bit or segment on them, he was looking in and or whatever. He's like, this thing is dangerous. It has electrical problems or whatever. And when you have something like a controller that is electric to steer your entire fucking ship,
well, it could,
electric gives out, you're screwed.
Yeah, if the signal gets interrupted for some reason.
To get them back up to the surface wasn't controlled by the inside of the craft. It's controlled by the boat that launched them.
I saw something about that. I didn't look too far into that, but yeah,
it had some fail safes where if something were to go wrong, that it would like have some sort of inflatable or something that would bring them up. Like but obviously,
would it be able to? Would an inflatable be able to inflate that with that pressure down at the bottom?
I mean, I don't know the exact.
I doubt it.
I don't. That in my head, that doesn't seem like that would be a.
I don't know the
good
physics
but
behind it or
none of
whatever.
this is good.
But
like none of what they had planned.
No.
You're like,
but I'm
stupid, and I knew this was a bad idea.
The thing is, I know a little bit enough about submarines to know that when they are at depths, in order to come up, they need to propel themselves up. I don't think they can like inflate themselves up, and they can't come directly up because you know how like if you're a deep sea diver or whatever and you go down, if you rush up the water too much, your ears will explode and you'll pop your eardrums. So like it's the same thing
syndrome.
like that. It's the same thing with with submarines. The pressure as you're coming up, if you relieve pressure too fast, it'll just expand and fucking end up breaking.
There's like these deep sea divers and stuff, and like when they come, like they live in like these crazy chambers that stay underwater, and then like in like rare situations where they've had to like bring them up like for injuries or things like that, like they have to like keep them pressurized at like the pressure from down and like where they were, like even at the surface for a certain amount of time to be able to
to reassimilate to fucking the regular world, just
what's
like
that movie
astronauts
with the shark. Fuck.
There's been a lot of movies.
There's a couple of them where people
but it's a newer one. It's called like 100 Feet Deep or something like that.
Yeah,
it's with the two girls.
I haven't seen it, but I think I know it. Isn't
the
Blake
movie's
Lively
insane.
in it?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
that's
so.
the only reason I watched it. But it's a fucking insane movie.
You got a thing for Blake Lively?
Who doesn't have a thing for
I'm
Blake
just
Lively?
saying.
What do you mean?
Damn, you don't have to jump on me. God.
Blake Lively is one of me and Katie were watching some movie and Blake Lively was in it. It's called Accepted. The funny movie, and she came on the screen and Katie was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "That's the only reason I've watched this movie."
With the guy in the donut suit?
No, the hot dog suit. Ask me about my wiener. Yeah, fucking South Harmon Institute of Technology shit.
Oh yeah. That's a good movie.
Katie, when that part came on, she was like, "That's where that's from." I was like, "I can't believe you've never watched this fucking movie."
That's an old school one, man. That was a good one. Yeah, for sure.
Blake Lively is one of the fucking.
I think
she's hottest women alive.
That's why she's fucking married to Ryan Reynolds.
I think the one
with a power couple of beauty right there.
With the, I think Sex Drive is the one with the.
Sex
donut.
Drive is.
I think so. Yeah. Katrina Bowden is in that fucking.
That movie's good too.
Sex Drive is awesome. Sex Drive.
We're getting off topic here, y'all. Fucking. We need to bring it back around. Fucking. Or we can. Do you guys have closing comments on it? Because we're at about 17 and a half minutes. So
it was stupid.
Yeah, it was dumb.
They should get charged with something.
I was gonna say this, like the fact that the CEO, like was the one like going down and driving it. Like I think like it like from his like inside his mind, like that would like if you do something that's gonna cause like issues and stuff, like you're down there and if it fucks up, you're dead. You're not gonna have to deal with the consequences. So maybe that's part of the reason why he was so willing to roll the dice.
Well, his wife, who I think is another CEO of it, is the one who's like on damage control now or whatever. And like, even though they have the waivers, they are going to face some legal ramifications because it blew up so much. Like the story blown up so much that this is like an international story. Like people are going.
But
can you imagine being fucking family members of that? How many? Like you get in a car accident. Lawyers start hitting you up.
Well,
How many lawyers from around the world are trying to get this case?
Let me say something about that for a second.
Yeah.
Like as far as that saying that they can be held liable, like even though these people sign the waivers and stuff, like if they find some way to hold them liable, then they better fucking go back and hold the pharmaceutical companies fucking liable because we don't sign contracts for that shit.
Well, right. That's all government fucking backed.
Well, right. But we don't sign contracts for that. These people actually fucking sign the contracts that were going down there.
Yeah.
So in that situation, like
do you have mesothelioma?
They sign their fucking rights away. So I disagree. I don't think they should be able to be held accountable at all.
I have one closing comment, and
I kind of agree with you.
It might propel us into another thing, but I don't know. So, you know how the conspiracy theories on the Titanic are? I mean, they're conspiracy theories, but they make a lot of sense about the the
Federal Reserve.
The Federal Reserve, yeah. Sorry, Keith looked like he just humped the camera.
I was trying to.
But the Federal Reserve, I mean, that didn't come out for a long time until I would assume people got technology and could look into that shit. Could you imagine in 20 years that something dumb fucking like that comes out? Because the fucking guy that wanted the Federal Reserve was like, you know what? I don't want to get on the Titanic. And then all the people that oppose the Federal Reserve were on the fucking boat.
Well, no.
Like,
I'm gonna go off. You did a bad job of explaining the fucking TikTok that you sent.
Sorry.
Yeah, fucking J.P. Morgan was because they wanted to create the Federal Reserve. Him and all of his backers. It was a lot of people don't know that the Titanic had a twin called the Olympiac.
Olympiad.
Yeah,
Olympiad.
It was. I
Olympiad?
think it was called the Olympiac or something like that. It was basically the Olympia, just pronounced different or whatever. But apparently that was supposed to, launch around the same time. But it had like a huge.
Well, no, it was just a sister boat. It wasn't supposed to launch during that.
Well,
It was
I don't
just a
know,
sister
but the
boat.
point is, it had a fucking huge tear in the hull to the point where they had to I don't know the word for it, but essentially
Decommission.
decommission. There you go. Thank you. They had to decommission it, and apparently the thing is that the conspiracy theory is that they revamped that one up and did it and switched it out with the Titanic, knowing that it was going to fucking. Knowing that it was going to fail, and they put all the people who were opposing the Federal Reserve, because they all were actually on there,
Yep.
and they went in, and if you go down, you're like, the whole story with the Titanic that was told for decades was that it hit the iceberg, it got a rip in its hull, and it split, but if you go down and observe the wreckage, there's 20 separate fucking holes in it or whatever.
It looks like explosions from the inside.
Yeah, it looks like explosions from the inside. So apparently there's a bunch of conspiracy things, and
Well,
then
that
the
could be
Federal
from pressure.
then the Federal Reserve went through a couple weeks later or something
Yeah, because
like that.
because the guy that fucking wanted the Federal Reserve said, "No, I'm not getting." What was that?
There's people partying somewhere.
I thought it was a siren. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Supposedly the reason why the hull of the Titanic, why it gave in anyway, was because the ingots that they used for the rivets or whatever, so many of them were bad or something like that. So they didn't have the the ability to hold like they should have. They trace that back, and supposedly has something to do with why the Titanic went down. Why it busted.
Explosions inside the hull.
Well, I mean, maybe, but the implosion that happened with that, so once the Titanic fell so far, the areas that would have still had air in them that hadn't escaped or whatever, maybe the pressure
Stop
caused
saying
those,
so much, goddamn
those
He likes it.
yeah,
Leave
maybe I
him
like it.
alone.
Okay.
But maybe that's why it has those. And just thinking of it.
You know what? We
from-
shit on Spilly so much. He just tried to shit on you, and
I know,
I
right?
protected
I appreciate
you.
it.
That's cool. Sometimes
I
you need to
protected
protect from me, because I'd be out here doing things. So